Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, February 23rd, 2026. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note our starting time for the minutes as 7:01 p.m. Colleagues, we've had a special request from Councillor Richardson tonight, who is not, as you can see, with us, but he's asked about the opportunity to participate remotely in tonight's meeting. So I do have a resolution prepared for that purpose, since Council has a policy around this, as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth permits Councillor Richardson's remote participation at the February 23rd, 2026 Council meeting. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Anstedt, thank you. And Councillor Blazek will be our seconder. Any discussion or debate on this? Seeing none, if it's queued up, we'll have it electronically. Councillor Blazek records a manual in favor vote. And with that, that's carried. All right, if we can bring Councillor Richardson into the meeting then. All right, welcome, Councillor Richardson. Hoping you can hear us.
I can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me.
We can. Thank you. That's good confirmation. All right. So a warm welcome and greetings extended to councillors, staff, delegations, and observers who will participate in this meeting, regardless of being physically present in the council chambers in Listowel or being connected through web technologies. We begin tonight's meeting with the playing of O Canada. Those in chambers as able are invited to stand. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the municipality's YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archived video. To those of you who are viewing this meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome to you. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Thank you. This time, as always, I invite your decorum over the course of the coming meeting. I do have regrets tonight from Councillor Mark Nordum. Let's move to item 5 on our agenda pertaining to pecuniary interest. Sometimes members of council have let me get this right. Members of council, not sometimes, but it is sometimes, have full lives with engagement in the community. Sometimes they may find themselves with a potential financial or pecuniary interest in an item at the council table. Provincial legislation mandates councillors to declare this interest, and in so doing to avoid direct involvement in the consideration of or voting on the item. I invite any councillors with a perceived pecuniary interest, including those who have already so declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session. Documentation is to be submitted, if not already done, pursuant to council procedures. Councillors may declare now or at any point in the meeting should such interest be recognized. Colleagues, do any of you wish to make a declaration at this time? I am not seeing any expression to that end, so let's move forward. As chair of this meeting, I will manage the flow of proceedings tonight and largely in accord with our agenda and rules of procedure. Some may be participating, including Councillor Richardson, remotely by web conference. Should they wish to speak, they may draw the attention of the clerk to this using the conference technology's text chat function. If technical difficulties arise for remote participants, I will certainly advise, and we have Simon working with us tonight to help. Let us now focus on the people's business. Part of that focus is achieved when those in the chamber silence and put away their phones. Regarding item 6 of our agenda, I have a resolution for our consideration to approve the agenda as follows. Let's find it. That the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Can I call for a mover? Deputy Mayor Kellum moves, seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Thank you both. Discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's move next to item 7 on our agenda, the so-called consent agenda. Consent items are placed on our agenda because they're believed to be non-contentious, yet they may warrant council's recognition and/or action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councillor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. Tonight, we have 20 items on the consent agenda, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting and annual drinking water and wastewater reports. Councillors, are there any items that you'd like to see extracted for further discussion? Councillor Rothwell.
Good evening, Mayor Kasenberg, members of council, staff, and public. Item 7.5, please, the 2025 annual drinking water reports, please.
Okay, item 7.5. Colleagues, any other requests for extraction before we have a look at that one? Okay, as per our usual process, we'll turn to the things that are extracted first. Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Mayor Kasenberg, and through you. On page 39 of our council agenda, dealing specifically with the testing on the Gowanstown municipal well, it's on the inorganic testing, and I have had discussion with our staff regarding this matter, and perhaps it would be helpful to have our staff talk about the reason why arsenic level is tested quarterly in Gowanstown as opposed to any other municipal wells. I do know arsenic is naturally occurring in geology, and it's the levels in particular that we're dealing with. So perhaps Mark, through the mayor, would be willing to answer the question just to inform council on that. Thanks very much.
We'll call on Mark Hackett, who's our Manager of Environmental Services, to answer this question and make comment about the arsenic levels in Gowanstown and why we test with frequency.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. In 2018, the level that we're required to test for has changed from 25 micrograms per liter down to 10. So then when we test, if anything that is over half the maximum allowable concentration, which would mean anything over 5, we have to test quarterly then. So that quarterly sampling has been in effect since then, and it will stay that way until the regulation changes, if it ever does again, but we're required. There's no relief from that. So in Gowanstown, we test quarterly. Historically, that the number hasn't changed from what it's always been. It's always been between about 8.5 and 9.5 typically. That's just, like you said, naturally occurring, and we don't expect it to change in the future. And we also have at well 4, enlistable is also slightly above the max, so we're required to test it quarterly as well.
Did you want to comment on the notion that the level that is reported is not actually a threat seemingly to human health?
Sure, yeah, that's the limit, like I said, had gone from 25 down to 10. There's no concern with any safety to the drinking water at those levels. And like I said, we continue to monitor those wells, and we'll continue to do that into the future as well.
Thank you, Mr. Hackett. Colleagues, any other thing on that matter? Item 7.5, before we have Mr. Hackett return to his seat. Okay, thank you. Anyone else with anything to extract before we consider the general resolution for the consent agenda? I'm not seeing any waving of hands at me, so let's go to the resolution at hand. For item 7, consent items 7.1 to 7.20, including the 2025 annual drinking reports and the 2025 annual wastewater reports, be received for information, and the minutes of the February 9th, 2026 regular council meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Anstett, seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's move on to item 8 on our agenda. First, we're going to hear from a delegation from one with interest in our council's business or authority. In fact, it's not one, it's 2, I think. I'm getting a nod from the back. That's good. I'll issue the usual reminder to delegations that in accordance with this council's procedural bylaw, a total time of 10 minutes for presentation is permitted, and a question period can follow at the discretion of the mayor, and the duration of which is at the discretion of the mayor as well. A delegation is to present on the topic declared on the submitted request for delegation forms, and deviations from the topic are not generally acceptable to the chair or this council. Decorum, as always, is required. Further to my request that we maintain an atmosphere of respect and courtesy in our meetings, I will remind that those delegating should not use the names of those who have not consented to such use. Our delegation tonight is from the County of Perth's Economic Development Team, which wishes to deliver an update on service activities and programs and projects undertaken in recent times. We are joined by Justin Diaz and Amy Arbuckle, both Economic Development Officers from the county. Welcome to you both, and you can figure out what the order and duration of your performance is here tonight. Carry on.
Excellent, thank you. So good evening, Mayor Keesberg and members of council. We're happy to be here to present a regular presentation of our 2026 Economic Development and Tourism Program. The program will be familiar to many of you as it carries on some of the activities that we launched or continue to build a momentum on in 2025, as well as some new initiatives for 2026. As the mayor mentioned, with me is Amy Arbuckle. So she's a new Economic Development Officer here with Perth County, having joined us in January. And let's advance the slide, as well as the rest of our team, which I've shown on the slide here. So our director, Meredith Frigette. Also included in our team is Shannon Landreth, who's currently supporting our tourism position, while Clara Leaney, our regular tourism officer, is on maternity leave. So that's our team. So everything we do in our economic development tourism program aligned with our 4 core areas of service. So our countywide program focuses on business retention and expansion, destination development and marketing, people and workforce development, and as well as affordable and alternative forms of housing, excuse me. So all of our party areas, they guide our work and our initiatives fit within these general areas. So turning to business retention expansion, this is really at the core of what we do. So our Prosper in Perth program, it's more than just business visits. So it's an integrated business engagement strategy, includes our business outreach, business tours, training, networking opportunities, workshops, storytelling, marketing of our businesses through our Planted in Perth County initiatives. And through this suite of activities, we're building in relationships intentionally with our business community. So we're not waiting for problems to rise. We're trying to make sure that we're building a relationship with our businesses so that they can turn to us when they have challenges or opportunities and we can support them. In 2026, our business education and training component of this will focus on practical competitiveness. So based on the feedback we've received from our business community, including through our recently closed business retention and expansion survey that closed earlier this month, you'll see topics reflected in our Lunch and Learns, our newsletter information, and other training events we offer will support these initiatives. So I just name a few: artificial intelligence, agribusiness funding, grant and loan support, marketing, and succession planning are just a few of the topics that kind of rose to the top that you'll see reflected in our business retention expansion activities this year. As well as in the attraction side, so we continue to position Perth County for investment and business expansion by maintaining employment land inventories, working with our industrial and office realtors, maintaining strong partnership with our investment attraction agencies such as Southwest Frontier Market Alliance, Invest Ontario, Trade Commissioner's Offices, OMAFA, Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, and others, to ensure that Perth County is considered for those investment opportunities and that Perth County businesses can access the funding and programs that would support their expansion here. People and workforce development. So this remains a priority area for us as well as for our business community. We continue to promote tools like our Workforce Attraction Retention Employer Toolkit that supports businesses with best practices. We can continue to support employers through job fairs and workforce initiatives. We're continuing to update our career pathways resources and working with our local high schools to support getting that information into our schools about opportunities and careers that are available here locally. And our newly launched program, People of Perth County, is really a strong kind of observation, or it shows of the youth that have success, developed business, life, a career here in Perth County, and really telling those success stories to build community pride and show the viability of maintaining a life and a career here in Perth County. Destination development and marketing. So tourism is both an economic driver and identity builder for Perth County. So in 2026, we'll continue to promote Perth County through our multimedia campaigns, targeting broader audiences, including to GTA. Our Perth County Discover More brochure will get an increase in publications this year, up to 90,000 copies, which we'll be distributing. Our Discover More flavor program has been expanded and includes our farm gate map. We're also supporting over 80 operators as part of that program, and also another few initiatives that fit within that Discover More. Our bakery trail and signature experiences continue to grow. In regards to our signature experiences, we continue to help curate new high-quality tourism offerings supported by professional media, training, and advertising. And a new project for 2026 is our Frame and Find wayfinding signage project. So this, throughout the course of the year, we'll be developing guidelines and a strategy on wayfinding signage to support our tourism assets with the support of a consultant. And then phase 2 of that project will see the fabrication installation of a number of signs in priority sites. So through these efforts, we continue to develop the county-wide brand and promote Perth County as a place to visit. So looking ahead, I've mentioned the Frame and Find initiative. We're also hosting the Municipal Agriculture and Economic Development Forum and Planning Forum this year in partnership with Invest Stratford in the province, which will see a number of folks come to our region to explore what there is here. As well, I mentioned some of the Lunch and Learns, and I just had a few of them on the screen there. We had an experiential tourism training workshop earlier this morning at Red Mill Farms in Perth South that had a full attendance of folks looking to join our program, as well looking to be back here in Atwood in a couple of days for our Lunch and Learn on AI for Business Essentials, which is also fully subscribed. So You continue to share programs and resources that our businesses are obviously keenly aware and interested in. And then lastly, again, nothing that we do at the county is on our own, so we rely on the support of our partners, including the team here in North Perth, our local chambers, BIAs, and others. So we're really, our program is countywide and it supports the initiatives that are going here, and it all is designed to support our business communities and help those folks who are here stay and prosper here. So with that, I will welcome any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Colleagues, questions, thoughts for the county team? Councillor Andreessen.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. Good evening, Mr. Diaz. My question is about the wayfinding signage. Is that more directed about signage to different communities, or is also signage for different attractions in and across the county?
Great. Yes, through the mayor. So the intent of this program is not to replicate or duplicate what already exists within municipal signage and provincial signage programs. So primarily won't be community signage. We envision it'll, again, through the use of a consultant, will help us identify areas where there's signage gaps currently as related to tourism, and expect that'll lead folks to some of our, for example, signature experiences that we've helped build over the years, and more of the private sector tourism assets as opposed to parks, trails, communities, and that kind of thing. So yeah, not a duplication of what exists, but filling in that gap within the tourism sector.
Secondary to that, thank you, through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. I just wondered, is there a way that you determine what attractions are featured? Is it based on size or amount of attraction that we're already having people go in terms of population?
Yeah, thank you. Through the mayor, the first stage of the process will be actually engaging a consultant with expertise on both the design and location planning aspect of that project. So they'll be looking at things related to what exists, where the gaps are, and we're hoping that they will identify kind of a tiered list of priorities. So, what might be a priority one? These are signs they should work on right away. These might be a kind of medium-term signage plan, and this could be longer term. So, the consultant will help us kind of identify where signs should go first and where, kind of the order of operations and where they'll go after that. So, I'm sure they'll take a lot of things into consideration, traffic and other patterns and stuff like that. So that'll be phase one.
I'll follow up on Councillor Andreessen's line of questioning. Do you anticipate that this will be a consultative process and that the public will have opportunity to share their thoughts or inputs on the subject matter?
Through the mayor, yeah. So the consultant we've actually are going to be issuing an RFP, and as part of that process, consultants will propose how they will engage the public or aspects or sections of the public to do that work. So that'll be part of the RFP process, will be a public engagement component. So absolutely.
Great, thank you. Anyone else with questions for Mr. Diaz? I'm not seeing it. Thank you both for coming up tonight. Welcome to the experience, Ms. Arbuckle, and we're glad you could join us tonight. Please be safe in your travels home. And the weather has taken a bit of a turn tonight that is making a few of us nervous. Thanks. All right. Our agenda indicates that we will hold 2 public meetings pertaining to matters under the Planning Act in the next time interval. And so for the purpose of executing these public meetings, I will use my discretion as head of council to announce a recess that will last the duration of the public meetings. This council is recessed. All right. We are going to begin and with public meeting number 1. This is a meeting dealing with an application made under the Planning Act. I welcome those who are attending for that purpose. This is a proposed amendment to the North Perth zoning bylaw, and this is a statutory meeting to deal with an application for zoning bylaw amendment number ZN 18-2025 by Patterson Planning Consultants, Inc. on behalf of David and Marilyn Purcell for property legally described as Concession 2, Part Lot 7 and Part Lot 8, Wallace Ward, in the municipality of North Perth. Correspondence, reports, and comments received regarding this application will be considered by council in this public meeting. Those in attendance wishing to make comment concerning this application will be given the opportunity to do so. Anyone wishing to appeal council's decision in this matter must make a verbal submission during this public meeting or have made a written submission to the council. Those wishing to receive notice of the decision regarding this application must notify the clerk via email, telephone, or by utilizing the public meeting sign-in sheet located at the back of the council chambers, giving their mailing address and telephone number. At this time, I'll call for a summary of this application. This will be offered by Nathan Garland, a planner from the County of Perth, who commonly works on North Perth files. Mr. Garland, nice to have you with us again. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Kaisenberg and members of North Perth Council. I'm here to present the application ZN18 2025. The requested rezoning is for a surplus farm severance, so this may look very familiar to North Perth Council previously. The owners are David and Marilyn Purcell, and the agent is Patterson Planning Consultant on behalf of Scott Patterson. Location, as noted, is Part Lot 7, Part Lot A, Concession 2 in Wallace Ward, and the municipal address is 5231 Line 87. Just a couple site photos again, just to remind you of what the property looks like. So just look from 87 and from 164. So the property does abut two roads. So 87 and 164 goes north south, 87 east west. So just looking at the subject lands. The proposed rezoned areas are for requested A-1 and A-62. So just for council's reference, again, the A-1 allows a house on an undersized agricultural lot. The A-62 prohibits a house from being placed on a subject lands. It does allow for things like barns, etc. We've had a couple of inquiries around that, but typically it does not allow for a house. So that's the one restriction there. This is a condition of the severance B45 2025, which did come to North Perth Council last year. Public notice was provided on February 3rd, 2026 to the general public. No comments or concerns have been expressed by any of the neighbors. I will note, just for council's consideration and reference moving forward, there has been some comments from North Perth staff with respect to road widening. So part of this is part of the future bypass area, just referencing that back. So they are looking at future road allocation for that. Road widening can't be taken as part of a zoning application, so the severance came in kind of around the bypass discussion time and adoption through council, so that wasn't initially included, but just for reference moving forward, it would be anticipated that the condition be coming back to council for consideration for road widening in those areas. So we just want to highlight that at the council. It's not included with the zoning at this time, so it does not affect the zone. And then as noted, it is a rezone to an A-1 and an A-62. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation and planning staff's recommendation that the North Perth Council support application ZN18 2025, and this is for consideration, so not just the approval in principle, this is actually for consideration for approval. I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. You've noted your comments about the notice and about comments received, which were none. I'll turn to our clerk just to make sure that something hasn't happened here. Have we received any comments or reports about this application at North Perth?
Through you, Mayor, we've not received any additional correspondence.
Thank you, Clerk Klein. So let's turn to the usual details of a public meeting, which is the opportunity for those who have come for this purpose to offer comment. We're going to invite you to do so in a systematic approach. First, those who are in favor of the application besides the applicant. If you wish to address council in this public meeting, you may do so. Anyone wishing to do that? Seeing none, we will turn next to those who may be opposed to this application. If you've attended this meeting and wish to speak to this council in public meeting about this, you are welcome to do so now. I'm not seeing anyone taking advantage of that opportunity. Next, then, we can call for presentation or comments from the applicant or the applicant's agent. Does the applicant's agent wish to make comment? I'm seeing a shaking of the head from Mr. Patterson, so I guess that's a no. All right, colleagues on council, if you have questions, this is the opportunity to ask them, and we do have the agent present should you have questions that require that support. Anyone? I'm not seeing anyone indicating same, so I will read the statutory notice as follows. Notice of the decision of council will be given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Council's decision is subject to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. And with that, we can adjourn this public meeting. I'm going to ask indulgence for a moment. My computer decided to log me off, so let me get back in here. All right, let's turn to public meeting number 2 as proposed by our agenda tonight. I'll call public meeting 2 to order. This is a meeting dealing with an application under the Planning Act. I welcome those who've decided to attend this meeting for the purposes of consideration of a matter before the Planning Act, a proposed amendment to the North Perth zoning bylaw. This is a statutory public meeting to deal with an application for a zoning bylaw amendment number ZN 17-2025 by Patterson Planning Consultants, Inc. on behalf of SR Davidson Holdings for property legally described as Lot 45, Registered Plan 158, Listowel Ward in the municipality of North Perth. Correspondence, reports, and comments received regarding this application will be considered by council in this public meeting. Those in attendance wishing to make comment concerning this application will be given the opportunity to do so. Anyone wishing to appeal council's decision in this matter must make verbal submission during this public meeting or have made a written submission to the council. Those wishing to receive notice of the decision regarding this application must notify the clerk via email, telephone, or by utilizing the public meeting sign-in sheet located at the back of the council chambers, giving their mailing address and telephone number. At this time, I will call for a summary of this application. Again, this is to be offered by Nathan Garland, a planner from the County of Perth. Mr. Garland.
Thank you very much, Mayor Kasenberg and members of North Perth Council. I'm here to present on behalf of ZN's 17-2025. The owner is SR Davidson Holdings, and the applicant and agent is Patterson Planning and Consultants on behalf of Scott Patterson. The location, as noted, is Lot 45, Plan 158 in Listowel, and the municipal address is 535 Main Street. Just an outline of the requested revisions to the zone. So the current zone is zoned R4, which allows up to 4 units on the property. The requested rezoning is to an R4 special, in this case an R432. The permissions would allow for a maximum of up to 6 units, a lot coverage of 41%, and up to 9 spaces on the subject property to provide parking for the residents located. Just a picture of the property looking north. So that is just a picture of Main Street. Currently, there is a house on the property, so this would be considered a bit of an up zoning or an up development. So they would be looking to modify from a single unit up to 6 units. So just a change in density on this one, so an increase in density. Oh, my apologies. Just an outline of what's being considered and proposed. So I just outlined both the single units and the double units. I'll say 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom units in the red and the yellow. So the yellow identifies them as single bedroom units, or 3 single bedroom units and 3 double bedroom units. So that's just an outline of what's being considered. And then that's also a viewscape of what's being proposed just from the street looking north from the subject plans. An outline of what's being considered right now. So that shows the building on the property as well as the parking out front. So parking out front with the 9 spaces, including 1 accessible space, and then into the building located to the north of that. I do want to highlight for council a number of similar type developments in the area. So there is about 3 very, very similar type developments in the area. This will almost be a mirror image of the one located directly behind that on Inkerman. So there is the 2 properties located on Inkerman, and then directly adjacent, there's also a multi-residential unit. So it is very similar within that surrounding area. So this would be kind of a 4, an inclusion in there. So it is very, very similar in type of nature. Just an outline of the requested relief provided. So it is a request to increase from 4 units up to 6 units an increase in 1% of lot coverage, so it moves from 40% to 41%. And then it is a decrease in the required parking, so it is a loss of one parking space, but a retention of still the accessible space. So typically the apartment consideration, we've kind of classified it along that way, requires 1.5 units plus an accessible space and a visitor space. This just decreases that by one, so it still allows for the accessible space there. So it is 9 units, but still maintain the accessible space. Public comments have been provided, so there was a supportive comment provided as well. There was some general concerns just around the general traffic in the area. Two comments that were provided. One was request to an indoor pool and the truck bypass. Both of those fell outside of the scope of this application. So staff did provide some comments with respect to garbage and snow, as well as gradient drainage and servicing connections. Planning policies and comments. The PBS does support intensification, as does the County of Perth official plan. I just want to highlight and remind the council again that the province has removed site plan control requirements from development where it's 10 units or less. So there is very, very limited opportunity to provide any kind of, I'll say, garbage or snow criteria on any of these applications. So it can be highlighted to the applicant and the developer, but there's very, very limited options to kind of control that through the site plan process. Drainage and grading would be required as kind of any kind of building permit requirements. And then there is similar development. I just want to highlight also this for council. The province has amended the provisions that does allow as of right variances for up to 10% of some of the restrictions. So the 1% increase in lot coverage, if that was to fall into a variance, probably would not actually come in front of council or a committee of adjustment for their consideration. So just a couple of notes there just for councils. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation that North Perth Council approve zoning amendment Z17 2025. I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. Did you say that Mr. Davidson was building a new indoor pool for us?
That is up to council to make that request, but I believe that falls well outside the scope.
I wasn't sure. I just had to ask. All right. Sorry, Scott, didn't mean to give you any panic there. All right, let's make sure we've had due notice given here. Notices were appropriately posted. I think any comment from North Perth clerk table here?
No additional comments were received.
Okay, great. So here's the opportunity in the meeting for individuals to make comments about this application for consideration by council. First, we'll call on those who are in favor of the application besides the applicant. If you wish to speak to council about this matter, you may do so now. I'm not seeing any indication of that. Let's turn next to those who may be opposed to this application. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to it may do so now. I'm not seeing any expression of interest there. Next, we'll turn to the applicant or the applicant's agent. Looks like Mr. Patterson does want in on this one. That's interesting. It's the swimming pool thing, right?
Good evening, Mayor Todd, members of council. Nothing further to add to the presentation that Nathan provided to you. Here in full support of the staff report and recommendation. If there's any questions, though, I'd be happy to answer them this evening.
Thank you. Colleagues, this is our opportunity then to ask questions if we have any. Does anyone wish to pose a question for either Planner Garland or for Mr. Patterson? I'll ask the gentle question. You'll treat garbage and recycling respectfully, right? People do kind of view this as an eyesore at times, and so we want to be sure that you're respectful on that.
Yes, through you to Mayor Todd. The building does currently contain an indoor garbage area. So the intent is not to have the bins external to the building and be in view of the public, so it'll be stored internal.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone else with a question? Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Mayor Todd, and through you to the applicant. The parking that's in the front yard, will there be any fencing or anything else to offset that view to the neighbors to the east, or what's your intent on that respect? Thank you.
Through you, Mayor Todd, to Councillor Rothwell. As noted by Mr. Garland, this doesn't go through site plan approval. But hearing that comment from yourself, I'm sure I can speak with the landowner about that option. He has had discussions with the neighboring property owner as well. They're aware of the development. So yeah, we're open to that, and this will go through the building permit process, and we can work with staff at that time.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Johnston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The other three developments in the area, like right in behind them, and are they of the same size? Are they all 6 units or close?
Through you, Mayor Todd, it's my understanding that those three developments that Nathan had presented are all fourplexes. If you do look at the air photo and kind of compare the size in relation to our project, the buildings appear to be probably the same size, same configuration, same layout, everything. We were just able to squeeze an additional 2 units in the building that we're proposing.
Squeeze them in, Councillor Johnston says, off microphone. Indeed, thank you. And certainly this is consistent with evidence that we have from various housing studies and reports that suggest that we need more one-bedroom units in our community. So very nice. All right. Any other questions or comments from council before I read the statutory declaration? Not seeing it, so as follows. Notice the decision of council will be given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Council's decision is subject to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. And with that, we can adjourn this public meeting. All right, colleagues, I now declare that the recess period during which the public meetings were held is over. And we call back to order our regular and properly constituted meeting of council. Let's deal with the 2 items that stem from that one by one. Item 8.2 as follows. I have a resolution that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives the report dated February 23rd, 2026, entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z18-2025, prepared by planning staff, and that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z18-2025, submitted by Patterson Planning Consultants, Inc. on behalf of David and Marilyn Purcell, affecting lands described as Part Lot 7 and Part Lot 8, Concession 2, Wallace Ward, Municipality of North Perth, municipally known as 5231, Line 87. Can I call for a mover? Moved by Councillor Andreessen, seconded by Councillor Duncan. Any discussion or debate, colleagues? I'm not seeing any. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Next up then is item 8.3, the resolution as follows. That the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives the report dated February 23rd, 2026, entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z17-2025, prepared by planning staff. And that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z17-2025, submitted by Patterson Planning Consultants, Inc. on behalf of S.R. Davidson Holdings, affecting lands described as Lot 45, Registered Plan 158, Listowel Ward, Municipality of North Perth, municipally known as 535 Main Street East. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kellum, seconded by Councillor Rothwell. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on this one? I'm trying not to forget that you're online there, Councillor Richardson. I'll draw you in at some point soon. I'm not seeing any further movement here, so I think we're ready for the vote. Let's have it. Are we missing one?
Councillor
There we go.
Richardson.
Councillor Richardson's vote. Thank you. All right, and with that, that's carried. Thank you very much. Mr. Garland, thank you for your work on these files. As always, fully put together and comprehensive. We appreciate it. All right, let's move on then to item 9 on our agenda. First, let us consider one item from the Strategic Initiatives Department as item 9.1. In item 9.1.1, Council is invited to adopt a new corporate communications plan. This is actually serious stuff. And so I'm going to call on Mackenzie Hamilton, our communications coordinator, to address this item and walk us through it. Welcome, Ms. Hamilton.
Good evening, Mayor Kaysenberger, members of council. The municipality of North Perth's corporate communications plan was last updated in 2018. Since that time, the community has experienced growth, changes in how residents access their information, and improvements in communication tools and best practices have changed. Recognizing the importance of clear, timely, and accessible communication in municipal operations, staff undertook a review and update of the plan. A public communications survey was conducted in the spring of 2025 that provided valuable insights into how residents are engaging with our municipal information. We were able to identify gaps and gather feedback on how communication can be improved. Feedback highlighted the need for simplified and accessible information, as well as continued use of non-digital communication methods. The updated plan reflects both this community input and the municipality's current operational needs. It is presented in a more condensed and streamlined format to enhance the clarity, usability, and ease of reference while maintaining its strategic direction for the municipality. The municipality continues to utilize a mix of communication channels, including social media, the municipal website, email, print materials, local media, and other outreach tools to reach a broad and diverse audience. The key goals of the updated plan are to enhance access to municipal information, strengthen transparency and trust in governance, foster accessibility and communication, modernize tools and outreach methods, strengthen internal communications across the organization. The communications plan serves as a guiding document for the communications coordinator and aligns with existing policies. In addition, a communications policy and procedures document has been developed to support internal processes and clarify how departments and staff engage with and utilize the services of the communications coordinator. This internal document aims to enhance coordination, efficiency, and consistency in communication requests and workflows throughout the organization, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Colleagues, it is an important work, an important update to our platform for communications. Anyone have questions, first comments on this? Everybody happy? Who want that? Well, I guess we'll put that to the test. Councillor Rothwell, go ahead, please.
Good. Thanks very much, Mayor Todd, and through you. Thanks very much for your work as well as the rest of the staff. I think it's very important, the recognition that's given in terms of the non-electronic communication. Certainly staff know and council that we do have a number of our members of public that do not partake of electronic communications. So I think it's very appropriate that we realize that whether it's because of age or religion and so on, that people choose not to be involved in electronic, it's important that they all hear the message. So thanks very much for that.
Okay, now that sparked something. Councillor Blazek and then Councillor Andreessen.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. I sit on the DEI committee, and communication barriers is a big topic of conversation on a regular basis there. So I just want to say on behalf of that committee that we really appreciate the work that's being done here. We are continuing our conversations about how to communicate with all members of our community. There is work to be done and gaps to identify all of the time as things are constantly changing, but you guys have done a really great job and we appreciate your efforts.
Thank you, Councillor Blazek. Councillor Andreessen next.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. Communication is such a huge topic. One of my questions also relates to some topics that Councillor Richardson has raised in the past. It's about concerns about roads and road conditions that I know we do have roads that are Perth County, have Perth County responsibility, and we have roads that are municipal responsibility and provincial responsibility. But there seems to be a gap where people locally just don't feel like they have the right information at the right time. Did you see that at all in any of the feedback that you got through surveys?
Through you, Mayor. Yes, I would agree that that is definitely a gap that we have assessed. This winter season, I was able to meet with the director of infrastructure services, and we did develop some additional materials that we were able to share with our residents this year. And we did also undertake an update of the winter operations page. I do feel that has increased the knowledge base within the community, but it is something that we continue to grow on, and we continue to take comments from the community and look at ways that we can improve that in the future in the oncoming winter season.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Second question. Um, did you have any other inquiries or thoughts around a community calendar? The reason for that is that it's getting busy. We have lots of community functions happening, and our organizations, businesses want to be respectful of each other, but it's hard to know what's happening, and you're planning 6 months ahead. It's hard to know, am I going to plan something that might hit on another event? Has that come at all to your attention, or been raised through surveys as well? Because there could be a potential gap with that, and I understand it's not necessarily a municipal type of action, but it's a community support action that might be beneficial. Thanks.
Through you, Mayor. So we do have our community calendar that is currently on our municipal website that is available for residents to make submissions. We do have a policy in place that creates for what type of submissions can be allowed onto the calendar, as well as that we are still doing the community connections calendar that is being released every 2 months to the community, as well the Universe platform that is being utilized by our programs. They also are putting community events into there as well. I would say that many of the residents may not be aware that we have the community calendar currently on the website, so I could see ways that we could improve the awareness for the community, that they could maybe get some more submissions and share that on our socials.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with comments or questions at this point in time? Councillor Rothwell?
Thanks, Mayor Todd, and through you, just one last question. Through you to staff, during the surveys, was there the issue raised in terms of alternative language for some of our documentation? I do realize North Perth Westfield, I think, has some 16 plus languages spoken there. As to whether or not on our webpage, or if we're looking at translatable options like Google Translate and so on, so that members of the public that perhaps English is not their first language, or in order to understand better, are there any actions being taken in that respect? Thank you.
Through you, Mayor. Great question. We actually have been exploring these options through conversations with other organizations. We have been made aware of this barrier that is in place. Within those conversations, we have become aware of different items that we are able to use through our other organization contacts as well. We are looking into some more permanent options that we'll be able to utilize in the future.
Thank you. Anyone else? I can offer just brief comments from another hat that I wear, which is the chair of the Police Detachment Board for Perth County. We too are concerned about the 511 information about roads and municipal projects that impinge on roads, and have had a little bit of conversation about this. We certainly recognize that there's a deficiency of integration, it would appear, amongst the different sources, and so we are cautiously exploring whether there's a case to be made for better integration, and what that might look like. Clearly, a one-stop shop is the desired outcome of virtually all of us. The challenge is, how do we move to a framework where that's actually what happens? And it seems at this point that that's not happening. And in fact, I think it's fair to say, and I've noticed with a certain appreciation, Councillor Duncan's routine road reports as well, that Facebook, there is a group that is using that for road information, and in some ways, that's not totally desirable. Like, there should be an official source of that information, right? So, I think there's some work that lies ahead. The question is who's going to pick up that gauntlet and run with it. As I said, we've had some comments, some discussion at the Police Detachment Board, and we'll see whether that evolves further. But know that there are other entities in the system that are also concerned about this particular matter, especially this winter. All right. I have a resolution for consideration, and I'm going to ask, Councillor Richardson, you're going to be our mover for this one? We can't hear you yet. Do we have him? Uh-oh. Councillor Richardson, we can't hear you at this point. No. He hears us, but we don't hear him. Do you have any insight into this at your end? Not yet. Okay. All right. If I can't hear your voice, I don't think I can ask you to be a mover, but we're glad you're still with us at least and can hear us. Colleagues, as I said, I have a resolution that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth adopts the Municipality of North Perth Corporate Communications Plan. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Johnston will be our mover. Councillor Anstett will be our seconder. Thank you. We'll see if we can't get Simon's attention drawn to Councillor Richardson's circumstances. Any further discussion or debate on this matter? All right, seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you very much. Colleagues, that allows us to move along to item 10 on our agenda. First, before I do that, thank you to Ms. Hamilton and to the team. I think probably interim Strat Initiatives Manager Klein was probably involved in the editing of that document as well. And to Ms. McLean, thank you for the services to bring forward a new and fresh communication plan. All right, now on to item 10. Does any member of council wish to ask for a report from staff or from one of our committees? Councillor Andreessen.
Yes, thank you through you, Mayor Kiesenberg. The topic of the report that I'm thinking about at this time is regarding the forestry conservation bylaw review that's been happening in Perth County. It's been drawn to my attention from a number of constituents, some of their concerns. I understand that there is a new report that's been released after public input, and there is growing concern from the agricultural community regarding some of the potential changes that could happen to how they do their practice in agriculture based on this new forestry conservation bylaw. So I just wondered if there's a potential report that could come based on that new and recent report that came through from the public surveys. Thank you.
I will weigh in here, and I have to admit that I was absent from the County Council special meeting that was held on this because I had work obligations. But certainly this is a county matter, and the county has managed a fairly robust process of public consultation. So if representatives, citizens in North Perth haven't been heard, frankly, they made a choice not to be heard. I believe that County Council heard from an extensive body of people over the course of its meeting and through the process thus far. And we're in a process now where staff will consolidate those comments and at the county, because it's their responsibility, and bring that forward again to another county meeting in the near future. So I'm not sure that it's relevant for North Perth staff to be working on this at this point, given that it's a county file and that the county has a process that has been pretty comprehensive, at least in my opinion on this. I'm going to turn to my colleagues from the County Council Deputy Mayor Kellum and Councillor Duncan, do you have any comments to add, given that I was absent about this? Councillor Duncan, please.
I guess what I'm going to say right now is we still have a lot of work to do before there's any sort of a draft bylaw format coming forward. After all the input we received through the public engagement process and all the input we received at the special meeting, staff is hoping to bring us back options by April.
Go ahead.
Yes, agreed with both my colleagues' comments, but I think if you do have any comments, you can still probably reach out to Clerk Tyler, and he would answer them. But I think our process now we've did all we can, but still reach out to him. He would answer your questions.
Thank you through you, Mayor Kiesenberg. I just hope that residents are reaching out to you as well as county councillors, because I'm certainly hearing concerns, and they're wanting to make sure our county councillors have that information going forward, because it does have a great impact on our local farmers and how they do their practices at this point.
I can assure, as I'm sure my colleagues can, we hear and have heard quite the stream of comment and input from people. That is pretty routinely shared and has been shared by all of us at County Council table. And certainly the special public meeting was largely delegations from members of the public who wish to comment. So I think there's been a pretty fulsome process. It will start again, I'm sure, to Councillor Duncan's point, when they bring an actual text of a revised bylaw, this whole thing will reboot and we'll be back to the sort of frankly confrontational politics that has been associated with this issue at the county. So I mean, you can continue if you wish to advocate and move a resolution to ask our staff to do something about this, but I would counsel that it's not the best strategy at this point.
Is it possible to have access to the report? Is it public through Perth County?
I think it was, yeah, it's on the website. Exactly, right. Yeah. If you go through the county materials related to the special county meeting and even meetings before that, you can see the progress of documentation that was made available, and it is substantial at this point.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else wishing a report from staff or from one of our committees? Councillor Johnston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I don't know if this is worth a report or if it's just a stubborn old farmer talking, but as you know, I don't love the surplus farmhouse severances, but the way it's written, the way the bylaw is that you are to retain the farmland and sever a surplus farmhouse. But more and more of the ones we see right now are people that are starting the process of severing the house, and then they go fishing for a farmer to buy their land. And that's not technically the way the bylaw is written. The bylaw is that it's a dwelling that is surplus to the farm operation. So I don't like the principle of that, of these people that are tendering their farm, that it has to be someone that owns farmland. So I don't know if it's, I know Nathan just left, but I wonder if the county could comment on that. To me, it's, you're getting the cart before the horse. It's not the intent of the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll turn to the staff table. Maybe Deputy CEO Little, given her planning background, will be a useful comment on this one.
Through you, Mayor, to Councillor Johnston. So that's a really great question. I don't know the answer to that, and I probably don't feel comfortable in my current capacity to be able to answer that on behalf of the county, but it's certainly something that we can take away, and I can connect with county planning staff in terms of what the intent is behind that. I can appreciate the concern and some of the comments, so I'm happy to take that one away, and then we can determine whether it's a follow-up or whether a report would be required in this instant, if that's helpful.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else with the request for a report from staff from one of our committees? All right, I don't see it, so let's turn next then to a consideration of the bylaws that we have, since we have no correspondence under item 11 to consider. We have tonight 4 bylaws for consideration. The enabling resolution outlines each bylaw by their number and purpose. Before I read the enabling resolution for passing these bylaws, does any councillor wish to extract one or more of the bylaws for a more fulsome consideration or an individual or recorded vote? Okay, I'm not seeing that. So I have the enabling resolution as follows, that the following bylaws are hereby passed. 13-2026 being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing of money to meet 2026 expenditures. 14-2026 being a bylaw to authorize the acquisition of lands from New Lift Hydraulics Limited. 15-2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZN-1999 as amended, and 16-2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZN-1999 as amended. Do we have Councillor Richardson available to us at this point, or can we hear his voice? Not apparently. Okay. Sorry, Councillor Richardson, we can't hear you at this point, and that kind of keeps you from being a mover or seconder. Moved by Councillor Duncan, seconded by Councillor Blazik. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? I'm not seeing any indication of that. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 13 on our agenda. For item 13.1, does any councillor wish leave to give notice of motion? I'm not seeing it. So item 14 on our agenda. For item 14, are there any announcements that would be a benefit to our community or that reflect well on North Perth at this time? Colleagues, staff, anyone? I will point out that this Saturday is coldest night of the year for those who may have interest in that event. All right, that brings us to item 15 on our agenda. We have one item to be considered in a closed session meeting of council. I will now read the resolution that both explains and enables our action to enter into closed session. It is as follows. If I can grab it. The council proceeds in camera at 8:07 p.m. to address a matter pertaining to the following: a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board regarding property described as Plan 382, Lots 1, 23, and 24, PT Lots 6, 21, and 22, RP 44, R4276, Part 2. I'm reading the phone book again. Colleagues, can I call for a mover? Councillor Anstead, and seconded by Councillor Duncan. You know, it won't be that far off when I say I'm reading the phone book and people will be, what's that? What's a phone book? Yeah. All right. Any discussion or debate on this one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And Councillor Rothwell votes in favor manually, and that therefore is carried. All right, colleagues, we will proceed in camera. We'll invite staff who are to be with us to remain. Those who are not should exit the chamber. We should close the doors, and we should change the audiovisual setting. And now we have Go ahead. All right, we believe that we are back and live on YouTube, and so at this point, I will bring forward a report regarding item 16 on our agenda. Council did discuss the matter that was identified in our enabling resolution for a closed session meeting of council, and in fact, the essence of that discussion will remain confidential at this time for the reason that was stipulated in our enablement of closed session. Council has a mandated practice near its acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business of its meeting through what is called the confirmatory bylaw. And I have an enabling resolution for a confirmatory bylaw for our consideration. It is as follows: that bylaw 17-2026, being a bylaw to confirm generally previous actions of the council of the municipality of North Perth, is hereby passed. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Anstead and Councillor Duncan will be our seconder on this one. Any discussion or debate on that? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Councillor Andreessen records a manual in favor vote. Councillor Anstead records a manual in favor vote, and with that, we have 9 accounted for, and that is carried. Thank you. Colleagues, for our bylaws approved tonight that touch on provincial priorities, I am in support and will not execute a veto. This information is and will be provided to the clerk as part of my required duties as mayor. It is that magic time of the night. We have completed the deliberation and taken action on the items that were on our agenda and may therefore consider a resolution to adjourn. It is as follows: the council meeting adjourns at 8:43 p.m. to meet again for general council business on Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Can I call for a mover? Moved by Councillor Rothwell, seconded by Councillor Johnston. I saw that head nod. It's not debatable. Let's have that vote. And Deputy Mayor Callum records a manual in favor vote. And with that, that is carried. Colleagues, our next regular council meeting is Monday, March 9th, 2026, 7 p.m. Until that meeting, this council is adjourned.